Okay, welcome to the channel. Today we've had 26.1 for console. It is different to what PC is offering. So we've got a specific announcement for console. Let's have a look what they say, shall we? Okay, so let's read through it, shall we? So update 26.1 has just been released for console and on PlayStation and Xbox. In addition, update 26.1 is now available on touch for Apple Arcade as well. This major update brings the most substantial number of changes, bug fixes, feature introductions so far this cycle, with an emphasis on enhancing player immersion and experience. Shouts are back, match engine has been fine-tuned, and we've made tweaks to the variety and relevance of news shown in the portal. Okay, let's have a look. 26.1 change list, non-exhaustive. Let's go into technicals. Extensive crash and stability fixes. Again, more stability, more crashes are happening with the update, so hopefully they're getting them to the bottom of them. Further improvements made to in-game translations. I'm assuming that means about the Arabic. They've been on about that, and obviously improving other languages which may not have had that great translation originally. Improvement to controller navigation on dashboards. Great. Let's see them. Resolves an issue where jump to top shortcut would not function within tables. Fixed an issue where fixture tab wouldn't appear when viewing the calendar via a keyboard shortcut or the bookmark button. Okay. Fixed an issue where database language could not be set separately to the game language. Reworded all descriptions of the keyboard shortcuts. Okay. Well, I know that was coming on PC. I was looking at that earlier. Match engine, match experience, and animation changes. Shouts are reintroduced to the matches. Tweaks to the frequency of players shooting at near post from tight angles. Improvement to defender reactions against opposition dribbling. I've seen a lot of people comment about how easy it is to dribble through players. That's great. I find that really annoying, but I know a lot of other people have found that annoying as well. Tweaks made to the line defenders hold when defending in their own box. Okay. Improved logic to defenders' decision-making with headers when not under pressure. Improved attack and movement of players during counter-attack transitions. Various other match AI tweaks. Fixed an issue where substitution made at halftime was not immediately applied if the tactics screen was still open. Fixed an issue where the disallowed goal caption appeared earlier than the VAR animation. That's going to be annoying. Fixed youth coaches will now rotate players in more in youth matches. Okay. Fixed an issue where floating floodlights appeared, I've heard of this, in nighttime matches when using tactical or dynamic sideline cameras. I can't say I've noticed, but come to think of it, yeah, it probably has happened and I just hadn't noticed. Fixed the captain indicator not appearing in the UEFA Conference League's pre-match lineup. Fixed an issue where a red card would incorrectly show for both teams in the men's Champions League matches. I've not played in the Champions League yet. Winter balls will no longer be used if the weather is only raining. Fixed an issue where event captions were shown all at once when switching out of commentary only highlights. Fixed various kit crashes, including Everton at home versus Brighton away. Improvements made to the match momentum graph. 2D classic. Managers and medical staff are now coloured correctly. 2D classic. Goal nets will now correctly move when a goal is scored. 2D classic. Ball will now be sized appropriately when the ball is in the air. Fixed an issue where the detailed player stats would not show in match on iOS. User interface. Extensive polish and refinement done to the UI. Addition of player comparison on iPhone. Improvements made to squad comparison screen within the Scout report. Okay, that's an interesting one I'll have to look at. Further inclusions of shortcuts throughout the title. Okay, interesting. We'll have to have a look to see what they mean. Fixes an issue where the right-click actions would not work whilst using the mouse cursor mode. Okay. Now, is that because of the controller being in the square and the X, or is that something else? Because that did work on the last update for me. Wage budget payroll on tiles and widgets will now display in the correct weekly, monthly, yearly format in line with the user preferences. Includes a confirmation dialog when exiting tactics to ensure that changes are saved. Makes sense. Fixes an issue in transfer contract negotiations where the right stick shortcut will not update the relevant field. There's a lot of problems with right stick shortcuts, but I'm not quite sure that works because the right stick doesn't work. Interesting. The transfer activity tile now states the number of days until the window opens and closes. Okay. Added a recently viewed players option on the player comparison screen. That's interesting because I used to get very annoyed at having to do the shortlisting and then that's the only way I could get around it. So yeah, that's good. Fixed an issue. The eye tooltip will now appear next to players' names on the Goal 50 and Next Gen news items. Fixed an issue where commercial summary news did not display the names and shirts of players for most shirts. I mean, that's just stupid. Of course it should be there. The Clear All button now functions as intended when viewing a list of player recommendations. Correct fixture result now appears in the club site about club latest results. Fixed an issue where in possession and out of possession role tiles would sometimes show the incorrect position for players. Yeah, I've seen that. Own goal scores are no longer duplicated in the calendar. Okay. Club hyperlinks and club reports now function as intended. Okay. The recruitment focus tile now correctly displays the active number of focuses instead of the total number of focuses. They fixed an issue where the FM menu can be closed by using the X button upon loading a save game. The medical centre tile now displays the correct icon on players at risk of injury. The shortlist tile now updates in real time. The transfer window, that is actually annoying, a shortlist tile. The transfer window tile no longer displays as closed when the user declines to make an offer message. Okay. Match Momentum Legend now matches the displayed colour in the card and tile. That was so silly. I know exactly what that is. You could have a team in red and against a team in blue and it would just be white. Bonkers. Enabled sorting by players and by expected playing time in the playing time expectations for new season portal message. The defensive line tile no longer appears twice in all instructions out of possession tab. The tactics evaluation will now display correctly when first opened. Okay. Sorting by player footedness now functions correctly within the database. Fixed an issue where the marked specific player list of players only appeared after reopening the instruction card. That would be annoying. Fixed an issue where the season date text displayed within the transfer history card was incorrect. The XG bar will now be coloured correctly on the data hub card. Yes, that is also very, very annoying. The international caps filter within the player database will now work as intended. That was a pain in the bum. I know that's been an issue when I've been doing the searching. The knowledge condition within the player database now works as intended. In other words, it actually works. Days since last scouted condition within the player database now works as intended. Sorting by nation filter within player database tool now works as intended. The position map now displays appropriately for youth candidates. Fixes table without youth performance card to use all space available. I'm assuming that's just on youth candidates then. Transfers, loans and wages. Various tweaks to men's transfer values across many nations. Tweaks made to AI club loan offers. Improved various transfer-related logics for Saudi clubs. The improved wage and transfer budget distribution logic for AI clubs. Improved advice consistency between transfer and contract negotiations. Improvements made to AI transfer negotiations when using buyback fees or alternative transfer dates. Reduced the transfer budget for women's team to more realistic levels in relation to club finances. Tweaks to player wage demands in women's football. Improved AI logic when using buyback clauses in women's football. Tweaks to player interest for high-profile free agent. Fixed an issue where AI clubs would include future fees in loan deals for players with less than 12 months remaining on contract. That's an obvious one. Yeah, I've seen that. And it's a bit of a silly thing where, you can't negotiate it, but they'd be put in. Added a sign for replacement first option back into transfer. That used to be a pain. I hated that. Okay, at least it's back in to be more realistic, but it was painful. AI clubs will now set more realistic goals during negotiations for loan players. They fixed an issue where AI clubs would ask for the loan back of a player who's already out on loan. Tweaks made to ensure AI clubs only make offers they can afford. User now correctly receives loan offers when offering multiple players via transferring. Okay. Improved messaging surrounding users who are unable to enter contract negotiations for a player who has no interest. They fixed an issue. This is a lot, isn't it? Fixed an issue where a player would lose work permit after joining permanently in a mandatory deal. Okay. Wage percentages now populate correctly when a user switches from transfer offer to loan offer tab. Reduction in the number of non-negotiable transfers made by the AI for youth players. Adjustments made to how AI clubs offer minimum fee release clauses. User can now offer a player near retirement a staff-only contract. Player wage will now display correctly even if exceeding the maximum amount the user can offer within the contract offer tool. Fixed an issue when offering a player via transfer room caused the action to be inactive for a month. The correct reasoning that will now be given when a user selects cancel proposal for player currently under offer within transfer room out card. Said. Fixed an issue when, the correct reasoning will now be given when user selects, fixed an issue where set for release and instruct director of football to negotiate renewal actions did not function correctly within the contract set to expire message. The correct amount that is due to be deducted from next season's transfer budget will now be displayed as set to move within the set to move on loan portal message. The play-in monthly fee will now correctly display with loan offer messages. Fixed an issue with wage after reaching international appearance clause not functioning correctly for those players who already have caps. Fixed an issue where the wage percentage when offering a player out via transfer room loan would sometimes appear as not applicable. Miscellaneous ones. Okay, Apple Arcade only inclusion of a magic sponge item for one-time use across any save. Improvements to the variety and relevance of news shown for you. Fixed issues related to UEFA Nation coefficient calculation for bonus points and playoff round results. Users can now arrange friendlies for youth team squads. Okay. That should really be reserves. That's obviously just the wording they've done from PC. Improved attribute distribution for new gen goalkeepers. Fixed an issue where the user would be informed about female youth players being released when playing in the men's leagues and vice versa. That makes sense. That's a bit daft. Fixed an issue where the youth candidate's item would be appearing multiple times within portal messages. Fixed an issue where text incorrectly stated that signing a player would help fulfill the development of players using the club's youth player system. Fixed an issue where the prize money message incorrectly stated the club drew when in fact they won. The collective win bonus change difference that will now change in real time. More accurate commercial income for high reputation women's football clubs. AI teams will no longer actively attempt to recruit managers when their league is not loaded in the database. Various improvements made to AI club logic when sacking managers. Fixed an issue where a player would get upset over being sold despite only leaving on loan. Fixed an issue where the board would always give you more time in the last chance meeting. What? Fixed an issue where human managers would not get offered a new contract by the board. The club vision choices will no longer include the preliminary rounds if you have qualified directly for the UEFA Champions League. Competition stages XG table now is a correct calculations when comparing the league table. Okay. Improvements made to AI manager sackings in the women's game. Fan reactions to transfers will now be more accurately fixed an issue when post-match player ratings data shown in fixture schedule wouldn't be generated. Players who trained in England for 3 years before 21st birthday will no longer be shown as 0 at club. Fixed an issue where stadiums without seats would display as having 0 capacity. Fixed issues where various non-playing roles will incorrectly be selected by default during manager creation. Message search now works for all tabs. Near matches view is now implemented into the recruitment focus tool. Good. Offer contract action will now become inactive after making an offer for a player. Fixed a rare issue where the user will be unable to retire. Okay. Overall now appears as type on the debts and loans card within finances. Fixed board happiness logic in regard to the number of goals conceded. Recruitment focus tower will now only display active focus. User return date will now appear correctly on the processing card when on a holiday. Scouted players will now appear in the player comparison list with the player report. Interested. Okay. Goals scored from penalties will now correctly show in calendars fixtures. There's so much information on this. Fixed an issue where going on holiday would skip past friendlies if you select holiday to next match. I mean, surely that would depend on whether or not you wanted to play friendlies, but okay. Listed for transfer status icon will now correctly update on the player report card when a player leaves on loan. Okay. Fixed an issue where the promise to strengthen the first team squad at right back would fail despite suitable improvements being made. More accurate attendances for cup competitions and friendlies in women's football. Fixed the award bonuses option incorrectly appearing within staff contract negotiations. Staff members will no longer be described as a free agent when they're employed by the user's club. Fixed an issue where staff non-contract expiry dates with display as the 2nd of January 1900. Fixed an issue where managerial vacancies were not updating correctly when a job was available. Fixed an issue where the user was unable to view league tables for some under 19. Again, that's PC because it's no, it's only reserves, I think. That would be applicable too. Fixed an issue where user was able to request a team report for a women's team managing a men's club. Okay. Frew is no longer described as being caused by a training incident. Norwegian players will now have correct knowledge of English language. General, removed redundant all group tabs and tables shown in rule cards when these were not relevant. A-League changed to the salary cap rules. Austria, fixed congestion. Fixed the African Champions League. Disciplinary rules. Correct teams now take part in AFCON 25. Fixed multiple issues for all free Asian club continental competitions. Fixed regionalisation issues in group stages of match-ups. In knockout rounds, updated squad registration rules and removed redundant foreign player matches. Again, they're talking about all this, but this stuff isn't in console. Updated rules for under 23 clubs in Belgium. Fixed issue where club next players will be on holiday. Belgian First National Amateur Division now correctly appears in game. Brazil updated 2026 transfer and registration window dates, removed and extinct under 23 championship. Updated sub rules in Chile, added points deduction for Santiago Morning. China updated available Super League squad numbers for the allocation to 60. Correct number of relegations for Chinese National First Division in 2025. Colombia, they've updated the TV deal and updated Second Division scheduling. Denmark, all Danish teams will now be entering the Danish Cup. What? That didn't happen? In Europe, national and club coefficients are updated. Clubs should play teams from the same nation in the league phase of the European competitions far less frequently. Egypt, fixed malfunctioning registration window for the Premier Division. Fixed issue with real-life squad numbers not being present for the Premier Division clubs. England, Sheffield Wednesday points deduction has been added. Drawn National League Cup group stage games now go to penalties for an extra point. Updated incorrect Carabao Cup scheduling that was causing fixtures in the opening weekend over the championship to be incorrectly played on a Friday. Fixed a very rare issue where competitions were not scheduled in the following season due to an unlikely set of circumstances, meaning the National League playoffs were not completing. WSL added the rule to allow under 21 players to be eligible without registration. Again, registration, we know that's not in console. All relevant teams should now enter the Finnish Cup. Updated third division format as well as updated French dates in France. Fixed incorrect scheduling in 25-26 Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2 seasons. Greece, they've updated the sub-rules in Super League 1 and the Greek Cup. Added under 21 match rule in the Greek Cup. Hong Kong League Cup foreign player rule and sub-rules are updated. Made various youth competition updates. Indonesia, updated squad registration rules in Indonesian Championship. Again, not console. Under 23 clubs no longer appear incorrectly in the Italian Cup. In Italy, in Japan, updated incorrect squad registration, squad size requirements for 25, updated unrealistic transfer and registration window dates from 2026-27 season onwards, updated substitutions for rules for special tournament playoff stages. In Malaysia, they fixed the incorrect match rule in A1 League that was stopping users from naming multiple under 22 players in matches, updated Super League foreign player match rules, updated competition cup schedules. In Northern Ireland, they corrected date and venue for the 26 Bet McLean Cup final, added extra time in the Northwest Cup. In Peru, they've removed First Division squad registration, squad size, and squad number limits. Fixed issue with team not receiving prize money when winning both stages of the league. Updated First Division sub-rules. In Portugal, they've updated transfer and registration window dates for all leagues. Fixed incorrect registration and window dates for Second League. Removed incorrect under 21 player match rule from League Cup. Teams now start with 0 points in the Third Division Championship group. In Poland, they've updated... Said quiet. In Poland, they updated the match and sorting rules. In Russia, they fixed the foreign player rule match rules, not being correct in the 25-26 season. Updated player Russian Cup sub-rules. Oh God, that's it, I'm screwed, am I? In Scotland, they've removed replays from the Scottish Cup. In the Spanish First Division for women's, they've got the foreign player rule now correct. In Singapore, they updated match rules for the Premier Division, corrected the Community Shield date, added VAR to the appropriate competitions. In Sweden, they updated the Swedish Cup for women's. In South America, they updated the Copa de Libertadores to draw dates. Under 21 Copa de Libertadores schedules for 25-26. In South Korea, clubs can now sign foreign goalkeepers successfully from 26 season. In America, they've fixed the issue where the MLS and NWSL squad registration rules, which don't exist in console. Again, NWS international slots have been updated for women's football. Uruguay, they've updated the Uruguayan Cup schedule. In Wales, they fixed unrealistic scheduling for JD Premier from 26-27 season onwards. Across the world, updated the eligible host of the FIFA Club World Cup. Online for FM console only. Fixed multiple soft lock issues when using both idle managers and processing after options. Re-enabled, disabled following other human preferences. Fixed an issue where all users would receive team report if one user requests one. Manager passwords resume control. Password field text is now correctly masked. Enter or return keys now work when searching for a server manually or entering a password. That was massive. That's a lot of information. There's a lot of things there which were unnecessary because they were bringing it over, I think, from PC. A lot of things didn't quite work. We still haven't got full customizable attributes, which I'm very annoyed at. There's still a lot of things they're trying to fix. I've been told that the squad planner is hopefully getting fixed in the next few weeks. They're looking at it, at least. So it's not brilliant. But hopefully it's a better game. I'm going to be playing it tonight, and we're going to try and get a video out tomorrow to see if 26.1 on console is actually worth it for anyone wondering if they should buy console now. Thank you for watching. If you've stuck along this long, drop a comment and like, and let us know what you think. Until next time, thanks for watching, take care, and check out some of these helpful guides if you play on console. Thank you very much. Take care now. Bye.